Hi, welcome to Learn Domain. Today I'm going to explain about how this underwriting process works, especially in reference to the insurance market and all that. As you know, underwriting is a process which will be evaluating the kind of possible risk which is being included in it and how this is to be managed. So underwriting is a process not only in insurance, even banking, financials, even in healthcare, health insurance, everywhere, this underwriting process is essentially important. Today, I'm going to explain you about the underwriting process from the diagrammatical point of view so that people will understand about the process of underwriting well. Of course, this is what generally underwriting process where the first thing what is that we have to do is that first thing is that we need to submit the application. Whoever wants to have their insurance to be and all that. So generally that submission of application is what they have to do first. So whenever the application is submitted, the underwriter has to review the application. So underwriters has to review the application once the application was submitted. So once the application was submitted, underwriter will review the application. Now, if there is any kind of additional information which client wants to provide anything, something relating to the information of that start, generally client will provide if any additional information requires all that stuff later. In the later days, usually if there is any additional requirement, so that will be given by the customer later. So once the underwriter process has reviewed the application, they have to see whether is there any more information required here or not. Here, more information required or not will be decided here. This is where generally the process will be. Now, once if there is any kind of information which is required and all, when we have identified, there are two different things. One is yes, second is no, because everywhere there is a logic applied if else conditions. So, for example, if there is an information which is not required, for example, if there is no other information required and all, wherein one has to understand about the kind of risk fits within the strategy or not. So we have to select the process wherein risk will fit within the strategy or not will be identified here. So once the risk fills within the strategy, if it is no, this is what generally the process we follow. If it is no, I'm talking about. If it is no, generally a risk fits within the strategy will be. Now, for example, if the risk is not within the strategy, what is that we have implemented? Automatically, application will be declined. Automatically, application will be declined. Application declined means if it is fails in getting the risk-free strategies and all everything, automatically this will get rejected. Right? So if it is no, automatically it will get rejected. Now, for example, if risk fit strategy within existing one was identified, where we need to understand about what exactly the information do we require us to follow. So here we need to understand about where apply underwriting tools followed by this rate. At the same time, we need to craft the terms and conditions if we is agreed, like for example, if that information was agreed and all everything, so this is what we have to do, right? So we need to understand here, right, whether whenever we are applying it, we have to understand this process well in advance. So means if the risk is accepted, then we have to go for this. Now from here onwards, one should understand about whether is this falls under within the underwriter's authority or not. So that also has to be identified. So for that, one should understand about within, whether is this within underwriter's authority or not, right? So that is what we have to understand here. This is where this process will be useful. Yeah, this is where generally this process will be useful, where we need to connect with it. Now, for example, if it is within the underwriter's authority, right? So if it was so, right? If it was so, automatically we have to prepare quotation. We have to prepare quotation, or we have to prepare quote here. This is where generally it was. Now, if provided, if it is S, right? If it is S, automatically it will be provided. For example, if this is no, let's say for example, for whatsoever reason, if it is no, it has to be sent underwriter's review application and terms and conditions again. So this will be again sent back to the senior underwriter reviews the application as well as the terms and all everything here. This is what generally this will be. So provided if it is no, right? If it is X, also automatically the quotation will be applied, quotation will be prepared. Otherwise no, automatically it will be sent back to the underwriter's quotation and all. So from here onwards, from here again, whether the application were approved or not is what we have to select here. This is where generally we have to see whether the application approved or not is what we have to select. Now, once we have selected this, if it is S, automatically the prepare quotation can be taken. Okay? We can prepare the quotation and all everything, whichever is required. Right. So this is what generally the preparation of quotation, provided if it is S, I am talking about it. Provided if it is S. Now, so this is the process, whatever I have explained you so far about the process, which is something relating to no. Now, let's say, for example, if there is S, right? For example, if there is the information we have identified, for example, any more information required and all everything. Again, underwriters has to request information from the respective broker here itself. So where we need to identify and we have to select underwriter, request information from the broker. right? So that is what we have to do, right? So underwriters will request information from the broker. Now, this same information will be required a broker from the client itself. So same we have to do. So same broker also requested information from client here, right? So broker will also request information from the client. Now, if there is any other information required, I'm talking about, so hence we need to consider it as yes. Yes, right? From here automatically it will go into this flow, request information, yes. Now from here, for example, if there is any kind of information which has to be given by the client has to complete the additional information, whatever is essentially required and whatever is essentially needed. This is where, right? So client completes additional right? So additional questionnaire, if it is required and all everything, will be given by the client here. Client has to give the additional information here. From there again, this underwriting process will be continued here, right? So this is what generally the process is. Now, for example, this underwriter has requested some kind of more information to be provided. For example, right? So there is the case where we need to understand the more information and all. Wherein here we need to select more information required, right? So more information required is what we have to do here, right? So if, for example, if there is more information required and all everything, so this information again will be going back to the underwriters this thing, right? So this is where generally one should understand about the flow, right? So this is what generally the flow one has to understand. The process has to be understood. The process has to be followed, right? So this is what generally the process one has to be followed here, right? So this is what it was. If it is yes, I'm talking about, right? If it is yes, more information is required, so it will be going back to that. If it is no, automatically application here where this will be of no, right? So this is what it was. Now, for example, if more information, whatever is required, so that more information will be asked by the underwriter from the requested and all information. If it is no, automatically the quote will be declined. Decline quote, right? So decline quote is what? If it was no, I'm talking about, right? If it is no, automatically the quote will be declined. So this is what generally the process one should understand when we are preparing, when you're trying to understand about the underwriters information and how this underwriting process happens and all. So this is what generally a diagrammatical review, or this is what generally the diagrammatical information which one has to understand. If you have any questions in regard to that, and if you have any kind of training needs, call that. Please reach out to the contact details which will be posted in below to this video. Thank you. Bye.